I schooled at Oguma, my early years in school, and I went to school barefooted.
Yeah, welcome on our TV Live. My name is Chili Pilsas. With me in the studio is our usual guest, Elder Gray Almona. Elder Gray Almona, you are very much welcome. You see, there's one spectacular thing about you. Each time you comment, each time you analyze issues, people tend to listen to you very well, and they also want some more.
Thank you very much.
So our audience wants some more from you.
Thank you.
It's something that I've eaten deep into the fabric of Nigeria. Though it's also tenable in other parts of the world, but Nigeria appears to be different because of the economy, which has plunged us into poverty and hardship. We're looking at the public school, the way it used to be before now, and the advent of private schools that have almost taken over the public schools. So give us a little analysis about genealogy of private schools in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Chidi. The private school project, is a natural expression of the gradual impingement of privatization, of social capital in the Nigerian, in Nigerian society, and the process cannot simply be identified with post-independence features of Nigerian sociology. They have been there, but in more subtle ways. But the establishment, the political establishment that gave accent, definitive accent, to privatization of schooling was the Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida dictatorship of August 27, 1985, because the young Amora, Babangida was an Amora, he assumed forcible power in the morning of August 27, Friday, 1985, at the expense of another dictator, Muhammad Buhari. So before that process, the definition of learning and instruction in the Nigerian social system had been hinged on the public school project. That is why, when I was privileged to be involved in communication in other fora, I was glib talking about the Ogbemudia era in education, public education, when it was taboo, for school pupils to be found loitering after, during school hours. That was the success, part of the success story of the public school project, because a carryover of that transition from the British ruling class to the inheritor indigenous power clique. That transition did not have any kind of moral injury on learning and instruction as such. Maybe it was only on the political, because that's a debate for another day. It is said that the inheritance was simply the different handing over the baton from one capitalist to another. But let's look at how it affected the face of education. Between 1960 and the period I'm talking about, the public school project was still something that the average Nigerian would be proud of. Great citadels. Let's talk about the immediate reality. The Benin Edo Delta Nexus, the Great Edo College, Benin City, Government College Ughelli, Ika Grammar School Agbo, St. Charles College Abavo, St. George's College Ubinomba, we produce the immediate past commissioner for finance, Sir Fidelis Obioma.
You have to by extension go to Anambra and
yeah, exactly. Dennis Memorial Grammar School. So the public school project, it gave fillip to an evolving society that was looking for self-definition after 300 years of capitalist slavery and more than 100 years, of exploitative and expropriatory colonial, imposition. So, with different facilities in society gaining some kind of self-assertion, broadcast communication not being excluded, because that same period witnessed the metamorphosis, of the great NBC citadel to areas that they were rather unprecedented, but also, created attraction and some kind of rumpus. African Independent Television came on board in that same process. I'm talking about the transition from public capital to private capital. So that is how the private school project came about. And then it was like culture shock to a society that was used to conservatism, because conservatism was, defined around the public school project. So when the private school brought concepts like the Montessori concept, pupils going to school in sandals, footwears. I schooled at Oguba, my early years in school, and I went to school barefooted. Primary school, barefooted. There was nothing like the KG concept. That was unusual, novel. So that created some kind of individualism in coming to terms, with the cognitive aspects of learning and instruction. The reward system too was revolutionized, because the public school system is built around the public reward system, which was a carryover from the colonial expropriation, but given a kind of a condescending accent by the existing power clique. So with privatization, schooling became something of, a hyper-elitist venture. Elitism was built around DMGS Onitsha, Government College Ibadan, Government College Ueli, Robo College, the Great Robo College, Hossey College. That was elitism too, because children of, the nouveau riche benefited. Children of the Dewo family, the Chief Reese Eduko family, the Urikeze family, in the Ika Kingdom, and the rest of them. The Juku family was also benefited from it, because Sir Louis sent his child to King's College, Lagos. You understand? So the public school project had this attraction. So with privatization, it was a kind of a transition from one mode of elitist self-expression to another. But this one had its own catchy features. The curriculum, the curriculum was revisited. Features bordering on, liberalization came to the front burner. Subject areas, that gave the child greater horizons of self-expression was introduced. But then, this is where the boundary, has always, subsisted. With the private school project, it was a near, incursion on the traditional value system of indigenous society. Not only was some kind of independence, given to, to important areas like the instruction, where the instructors were expected to also instill basic ideas of self-assertion to the pupil.
But let me quickly comment. The transition now of the elitists, according to you, have also been into. It has hinged more on the public schools. That some of these elites now own their own schools to the detriment of the public school.
I'm coming to that. That's the ownership.
Yes.
Because you cannot divorce ownership as a social phenomenon, from an enterprise defined around, privatization. Ownership and control, were integral elements of this process of privatization. As Babangida dictatorship gave greater accent to privatization of social capital, institutions, let's not forget, not new eras, but one of those institutions anyway, but it was about administration, people management, people control and tutelage, and more importantly, ownership and control. All of them, came to the front burner. Then let us look at something that is a part of the two sides to a coin. Merits and demerits, maybe. The merits of the public school system and maybe its demerits. Merits of the private school system and its demerits. First of all, the public school system. Merits, it gave definitive character to the concept of self-discipline. Discipline, was also, a frontal part of it. Maybe the demerits of the public school system, much, attention was not too focused on the people's personal, self-expression and upbringing, unlike the private school project. The private school project, let's start with the merits. There was attention, or there has been attention. It's a process that is continuing. Today, the private school project has blossomed, to the center stage, so much so that it is competitive among the members of the family unit. The family is the basic social unit. It plays a very important role in this social development process. But you find that the average family member would like to, beat his chest that, oh, my daughter, my son is in that private school. How many public school institutions care that a pupil has not actually returned home after closing hours? Very few. That is because the public school project, with greater infrastructural leverage deployed to privatization of schooling, greater attention focused on pupil development, of course, all for what someone who of a socialist orientation will call opportunistic reasons, because somehow privatization feels a certain, at the cognitive level, it feels any competitive relationship with the public system to outdo the public system and push it out of the rubric of the social system. So as a result, it is personalizing learning and instruction. Or the private school, facility will come very close to the home of the benefiting parent, horn blare the horn to pick the pupil. How many pupils were picked, at the DMGS? They depended on the public school project, on the public school facility. So these are the subtle interlinkages and differences. The private school project is taking advantage of the fact that with a greater articulation of the social system, articulation and elaboration, the public school project, is becoming more alienated, from the family structure, unlike the private school system. The private school system, the parent will call the proprietor or proprietress, why is my people not home by this time? That is making it more personal. That is one cultural advantage.
As far as I'm concerned, private schools are about profiteering, no matter how I want to put it.
Yes.
And they want to make money on the parents.
Profiteering,
yes.
But whichever, you see, let's look at it this way.
Capitalist theory.
Let's look at it this way.
Making the people the more.
Profiteering maybe on the economic plane,
yes.
But on the cultural plane, the people experiences great personality change. If my daughter was in the public school system, that care, that special interest, when she takes ill, the school proprietor, so the caregiver will look up. Mr. Mona, where's your daughter? So those are the cultural advantages.
This is the much we can take from you and Mona. As far as I'm concerned, the advent of private school is as a result of total failure and criminality we have in the public sector. That is what brings all about private universities. It's a governance failure. And that is what brought about commercial schools coming to teach typewriting. From typewriting, the state governments begin to extort points from them to give them approval to write WAEC. From there, the primary school began with the kindergarten, nursery school and credit home care, and then now metamorphosed into secondary schools and so on. The first private university we have in Nigeria is Ibadan University. We know how it came about. So this is what we can take. My name is Chidi Peters. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and of course press that notification button to get more and more heartwarming episodes from Navu TV Live.